Hi guys, Dr. Rob Barrington here with some more nutrition advice. I've had a question from one of my regular readers, and he's asked, is it possible to gain skeletal muscle and at the same time lose body fat? He's under the impression from people he's talked to in the gym and from other trainers that in order to be able to put muscle onto his frame, he needs to also put on fat by going through a period of bulking. So we're talking about performing resistance training, eating large amounts of calories. Body weight will increase, and that body weight will be made up of both fat and muscle. And then he suggests that people have said that in order to be able to improve his physique, he then needs to go through a period of dieting where he loses the fat but tries to maintain the skeletal muscle. I believe that you can gain muscle without gaining fat, and I believe you can actually gain muscle while losing body fat. The key to my belief is the fact that you have to eat a high quality diet. If you eat excess calories, and those calories are in the form of low quality foods, particularly sugars, you will accumulate body fat. If you're performing resistance training, yes, you will gain skeletal muscle as well. Your resting metabolic rate will increase, and at a later date you could possibly lose that body fat. However, I believe that if you eat very high quality foods, you avoid all simple sugars or refined carbohydrates, and you eat whole grains, you eat a lot of plant foods, and of course you eat a high intake of protein, you can increase your skeletal muscle and at the same time lose body fat. Now, I usually support what I say with evidence from the nutritional literature, and if we go to the studies that have been done on neophyte trainers, people who haven't really done resistance training before, what we tend to find is that when they're put through a resistance training program and they're given adequate protein, they tend to put skeletal muscle on, and they also tend to lose body fat. Now, logically, this suggests that there is a mechanism within the body to allow the growth of skeletal muscle and also cause body fat loss. Those experienced trainers who want to gain muscle and lose body fat, I don't see a reason why there shouldn't be a similar physiological adaptation as there is in a neophyte trainer. Now, obviously, a neophyte trainer who hasn't trained before will gain vast amounts of muscle and lose a lot of body fat. The law of diminishing returns suggests that the better your physique becomes, the more muscle you gain and the more fat you lose. Obviously, the gains that you make will be smaller and smaller as you get closer to your genetic potential. However, that doesn't mean that the process would cease. And I believe that if you continue to eat a high quality diet, you continue to train hard, you should be able to gain skeletal muscle and lose body fat. Another widely held belief amongst those people who perform resistance training is that you have to eat a large excess of calories in order to be able to gain skeletal muscle. And I think this is the bedrock of the understanding that you have to be able to gain fat and muscle to be able to improve your body composition. My personal experience is that you don't have to eat that much in order to be able to gain good quality muscle. Obviously, you have to supply yourself with a high quality protein, and you have to eat enough protein because that protein becomes incorporated into your body as skeletal muscle. You also have to be able to eat enough carbohydrates in order to be able to give yourself enough energy. But once those requirements are fulfilled, any excess energy is going to be stored as body fat, and therefore the large calorie intakes that some people consume are going to lead to body fat accumulation. Now, particularly if they eat those calories as simple sugars and refined carbohydrates, which is often the case. And an example of this is the weight gain formulas we tend to find in shops. If we look on the ingredients, the carbohydrate content, or a large portion of the carbohydrate content of some of these weight gain formulas, tends to be as sugar or simple sugars, and these sugars will increase flux through the de novo lipogenesis pathway. That will lead to insulin resistance and weight gain. The key, I would say, therefore, my recommendation is if you are performing resistance training and you want to put on muscle and you want to lose body fat, in other words, you want to improve your body composition, Just as you would if you were sedentary, it's very important to eat a high quality diet. You need to ensure that you have adequate protein in your diet. The recommendation is difficult to make because it varies from person to person. The general rule is 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. If you use that as a guide, that should suffice for most people's needs. You need to ensure that your carbohydrate content is of high quality, which means no refined carbohydrates as you would find in the Western diet. You need to eat good sources of carbohydrates that contain their fibre. You also need to eat a large portion of your diet as plant foods, because these plant foods contain important polyphenols and other phytonutrients that provide antioxidant protection to your body, and exercise is a form of stress that increases free radical damage, and these antioxidants are important to protect you from that damage. You also need to ensure that you have an adequate vitamin and mineral intake, and if you are very physically active and you're consuming large amounts of calories because you are using a lot of energy during the day, you will probably need to take a multivitamin and mineral, because you may not be able to obtain the levels of micronutrients you need from your food. If you follow those basic principles, which is what I would recommend for anybody who wants to follow a high quality diet, you should find that you are able to put on good quality muscle and at the same time lose body fat.